6:30 p.m. Eastern. Shelby's World Live taking off. Questions will be answered cause the queen get it off. Unity is for the black and brown community. Conversation without scrutiny. Hey, we speak from a place of power, no coward. We just making sure the truth isn't overpowered. Black goddess, black queen, no in between. Radio podcast to the big screen. Her smile is everything, can light up a room. She say what she means, that's why we're in tune. Grown woman handles her biz like it is. Discipline, a role model for the kids. Nothing was given, everything she earned. She sat back and learned, and now it's her turn. So stop on by, comment, subscribe. Each and every Wednesday, SW Live.
Shelby's World Podcast.
What's up? What's up? What's up? How y'all doing? Happy Wednesday. Happy SW Live Wednesday. Welcome back. It's time to get this thing started. We're going to jump straight into the show with our quote of the day. And today's topic is, why are Black women so disrespected? Quote of the day: the most common way people give up their power is by thinking they don't have any. That's the most common way to give up your power. It's easily forfeit what you know others need, but don't know that they need, because you don't understand how strong your power is. But in that same element, people just don't accept that they even have the power. A lot of us don't even know that we even have it in our possession. So the most common way people give up their power is by thinking they don't have any. So we want to change that whole narrative, right? We want to start living in our truths and knowing that walking in who we are, how we are, all of that matters. It gives a full perspective on how we are going to actually live our lives. So how we treat ourselves is going to be a benefit to how we handle ourselves in our day-to-day lives. Okay, so the most common way people give up their power is by thinking they don't have any. All right. That's how, if you didn't have power, one thing I will say though about that is, if you didn't have power, why would voting be so astounding for people? Like, people really want your vote. They be out there pushing hard to get your vote. Do. So you know that voting power is admissible. So there's power there, right? There's definitely power in that vote. So you must know that power is way more in depth than that. What's happening? You must know that power is way more adaptable than that. Your power, who you are, what you possess, all of that matters. People pay attention to that. They need that. They need your assistance. They need you to work. You got the power in finances. You got the power in building. You have the power in infrastructure. Nothing can happen in this country without us having the power. So the easy way to give it up is not knowing you even have it, knowing you even possess it. All right. So we're going to change that today. Let's talk about why Black women are so disrespected. Let's talk about that. Power. It's so much power in a sister. It comes with so much. The most disrespected people in this country are Black women. Today we're going to be speaking from the perspective of an article that I read in relation to this particular topic by Stacey Pearson Wharton, and she is a professor. And she wrote a piece and she submitted it to LinkedIn in April of 2026 of this year, of course. For the first part of the show, we're going to discuss that. And then after that, we're going to talk about, give a little context that shows the disrespect against Black women. Because there's a lot of context behind that. We have it in sports. We have it in journalism. We have it in politics. We have it in everyday capital outlay. It's happening every single day that there's going to be a disconnect as to where Black women are going to be disrespected in the workforce. And I don't know if they're trying to say we shouldn't even work or what. I don't know. I don't know what it means, but I know that it's a discourse. It's a common discourse about it. All right. So The most disrespected person in America is the black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the black woman. The most neglected person in America is the black woman. And this is still a common concept. But Malcolm X said that in 1962. That was said by Brother Malcolm, and he was always on the side of speaking for sisters. He always had positive things to say about how if we don't educate the woman, the black woman, we won't have an educated family, because who was with the children more? Malcolm knew that if you were a real man having to run the course and do what you're supposed to do to be protecting your family, you may be with the family just on a lesser level than the woman. So you want to have a strong woman. So that means you need to finance your woman. You need to build your woman. You need to educate your woman. You need to do to your woman. And the reason why he said all these things is because he knew that the most disrespected person was the black woman, because of the strength that came with black women then and the strength that comes with black women now. It has not changed. It has only grown. The magnitude is stronger. Black women are held to pay. Okay? More than 60 years later, those words still echo with a painful familiarity. They resonate not because black women are powerless, but because black women continue to navigate spaces where their leadership, their presence, and their humanity are too often questioned, minimized, or dismissed. Recently, a national incident offered yet another reminder of how quickly black women can become targets of scrutiny or criticism in public places, right? When a white male NCAA coach attacked a black woman coach, the incident between two coaches became a national talking point. Many black women recognized the pattern immediately, and a moment involving a black woman becomes amplified, dissected, and framed in ways that feel disproportionate in the situation itself. So because she's a woman, and not only a woman, but also a woman of color, she is now being targeted in other ways outside of even sports. We ain't even focusing on the fact that she handling sports right. We took away the whole concept of this white man attacking this black woman, and focused on her lifestyle and the things that set her apart from her personal life and her professional life. Just because the industry couldn't allow what this white man did to this black woman to be faced, they couldn't just make him pay for what he did. Because you a black woman going up against a white man? A white man run the world, don't they? So how can a black woman possibly go up against a white man? Impossible. All right. For many black women, this dynamic is not new. It mirrors experiences in workplaces, classrooms, boardrooms, and community spaces. It mirrors the times when you excel at a major presentation and still get questioned all the time. You set a boundary and suddenly become the problem. You achieving something significant and someone finds a way to diminish it. You simply exist on a random Tuesday and still feel like you're under the microscope. Living as a black woman, but I still wouldn't trade it though. That's not something that I would ever want to give back. I enjoy it. Trust me. The disrespect is not always loud. Sometimes it's subtle. Sometimes it's wrapped in concern. Sometimes it's framed as feedback. But black women feel it. We carry it. We navigate it with a level of emotional labor that often goes unseen. But here's the truth. Black women deserve more than resilience. We deserve respect. We deserve protection. We deserve to be valued without conditions. And we deserve community, real community, where we can excel, be affirmed, and be held. That's what black women deserve. No matter what anybody feels when it comes to what other people have to go through, because they have protection and safe spaces. We still have to worry about the different things that happen to us on a regular day-to-day basis, because at some point people will throw you off and pawn you off as trash, or like a small figment or a fragment to the situation just because it's up against another person of color. I mean, another person that's not of color. Now, if you do it to somebody that look like you, they fine. There's nothing wrong with that, But when you have to question somebody that don't look like you and make them stand for what they did wrong, it becomes an issue. So that's a normal thing that happens in our spaces on a day-to-day basis. Black women say that discrimination impacts health outcomes and would like to see the government do more, but we don't expect it. It's just things that you would like to see. When given a definition of discrimination in the healthcare system, 75% of Black women agree that racial discrimination affects an individual's overall health. When it comes to racial discrimination in healthcare, 56% of Black women overall see the government is not doing enough to address the issue at all, because we're 5 times more likely to pass away during childbirth because we're not given the proper care and procedures. Things are overlooked in pregnancies just because they don't want to do the work. So depending on how far, where you can go, where what you can afford, and all those things, it's going to play a toll or play a role on how you deal with, how you maneuver in your healthcare situations. And that's sad and unfortunate, because it's a lot of people always looking for other ways, other benefits, other things that can help them in the system. That's always happening. So, there was a recent incident involving Representative Jasmine Crockett, where she was being insulted on the floor of the House of Representatives by Marjorie Taylor Greene. And I'm not into politics at all, y'all, but it's, things you're going to see, things you're going to run across, things you're going to, people, because it's going to run across your timeline or something. But I saw this, and she was insulted on the floor of the House by Ms. Greene, who just one example of the pervasive abuse faced by Black women in public and private sectors. In the cultural landscape, no figure is more scrutinized or misunderstood than a Black person. So it was unfair. The Black woman who was unafraid to speak her mind, the pushback was boldness, however, often comes at a high societal cost and extends beyond the halls of Congress. Because it goes beyond the walls of Congress, because, for one, they want to amplify the additional discrimination and racism. People want to play partisan acts to act as if racism does not exist in this country. It's so strong and deeply rooted until it's happening on a day-to-day basis. But the fact remains that when someone pushes back for what they know that is right and what the rights that they should have, when it's pushed back upon, now they're always going to end up being the problem. Why would you not address discrimination that's happening directly to you in your face? Why would you not address it? Why would you not? Why would you continue to roll over because you feel like you have to have this job? You don't have to have anything that's going to allow you to be treated any type of way. If you just like you got this job, you can get another one. We cannot be continuing to allow people to defeat us and continuously defeat us, and then sit there and act as if that we don't deserve better, because that's why you're constantly being defeated. All these DEI and affirmative action clauses and programs that were created to help the Black people or the people in this country that were that needed assistance to get jobs because they were being frowned upon, even though they had more experience and more education, they still weren't getting jobs. They were losing jobs to people who had no experience and no education, actually, and having to train. And some of those that were already on the jobs were having to train these people who came in with no experience and no expectations, right? So, but we want to frown upon the people who help create these programs for the people who may have needed these programs so that they can have the opportunity to work in these fields that they went to school for and got the education and experience for. So herein comes programs like DEI and affirmative action, and all those things are deeply rooted. And the people who benefited off of it more are the ones that stepping on our backs to talk shit to us and treat us like people of nothing. So you gonna have, it's the white women on these jobs, once they get into these positions, they can start acting like really, really cocky and start treating the people around them bad. But the only way y'all got to those positions is because of those affirmative action and those DEI clauses, because the white men in those jobs were not looking to hire y'all, weren't even looking to give people a chance. They was in the buddy system real good. And next thing you know, here comes trickling DEI and affirmative action, all the things that y'all say y'all don't need, that we should cut out, that y'all getting rid of because now y'all gotten in these positions. You no longer need the DEI support. So you want to now get rid of something that gave you your job. Isn't it amazing? Isn't it amazing? It's amazing. I don't know how y'all don't think that's not amazing, but I think it's amazing that people that grew constantly from the support of a program that wasn't even designed for them, but rose to the top, now say we don't need the program anymore. It's amazing. To me, it's amazing. It's amazing. Okay. Amanda Seales, high profile figures like actress and social activist Amanda Seales have often faced relentless criticism and sometimes virulent attacks simply by expressing her opinions. And these are just opinions now. People do this all day on the internet. Seales' appearance on Shannon Sharp's Club Shay Shay podcast, where she discussed her exclusion from Black Hollywood and negative media commentary, sparked a significant online debate and crude critique under a thin veil of likability. Her candid recounting of the slight she has endured attacked skepticism from some quarters and highlighted the intense scrutiny and polarization that outspoken Black women often endure. When Black women speak up, voices are heard. Ears are open. Voices are heard. And it comes from Black women because Black women have the care, the endurance, and everything that carries that family. That's why the Black man loves and depends on his Black woman. It's really, we have a build off situation. When you're in a real tight knit, real shit type situation with Black man and Black woman, you don't have any questionable things that are happening because they know where their foundation lays. Because one person that ain't going to be veering off or making themselves be questionable is that Black woman. They don't change their loyalty because of a situation. They don't change how they act, treat people, none of the above because of the situation. They standing in the paint. That's why Black women are the most hated. They're the most disrespected because of stuff like that. Nobody ain't ducking down and backing down. Not a Black woman. And that is so frowned upon. It is so frowned upon. This phenomenon extends far beyond celebrity. For instance, the documentary on Black Twitter, which featured Amanda Seales, was met with extreme pushback from one of the many people who profiled in the series, whereas male viewers were similar feedback, faced no such opposition. So she talked about how the men were profiled in the series and how the Black men in the series were had extreme pushback. But when she said it was this whole big old huge thing, right? But as soon as someone else came and said it was like, oh, let's say this, let's do this, let's take this. It's like it irks people to hear a black woman say something. It irks them because it's like we know the truth is being spoken. Like in Alice Walker's poem, Everyday Use, Maggie had Grandma and Big D to teach her how to quilt, passing on generational wisdom. We have to respect the older sisters in the bridge the gap. Love her, love her. Alice Walker was a dope. That's a dope being. Everything about her is really dope. I love the stories about her. I love the history that comes along with it. That's exactly why I chose this particular quote, because she's a very, very dynamic being. Yeah, dope. She speak on power a lot. She talk about many aspects of how you can utilize your power and the different ways to have understanding for your power. She a real dope girl. Dope girl. But yeah, it's so many different things that let us know that our power is strengthening in the black community. But if you couldn't do, we wouldn't have that strength if it wasn't for the strength of that black woman, though. We got to understand that. And I don't just speak that just because I am a black woman and I know my foundation is strong. It's not just because of that. It's because ancestral history, life has shown me it takes us to make this happen just as much as it takes our black men. It's just that. But because of us and because of the fact that we ain't just rolling over, we not just accepting anything being said to us. Emmett Till mama ain't never just accept no bullshit like that was said about her son. And fought to the end for it. People not playing about their people. Like, and I was watching these young black boys little podcast. Is really, really dope. I love listening to them. I don't know where they came from, but they probably didn't just come out the blue. They probably been around, but they're some very, very intellectual young men. And they were saying that back in the day, their parents, they had one of them only, it was only one that actually made this statement, but the rest of them was like, nah. But their mom would say, son, you got to have a diverse group of friends. You got to have some Asians in the group. You got to have some white people in the group along with you, because you just want to have that. You want to have diversity in your circle, right? And as he grew up, he was like, he never wanted that. He never wanted that. He said, because he said, if you think about it, when you think about it this way, he said, where is a time that white women and men let their child, one little white little boy go hang out with a group of black boys? Where is that a time they're not going to allow it? They're going to question it. So why wouldn't you? And they went on in even deeper into saying that we were so systematically taught that, you got to move into the white neighborhoods when you feel like you made it. You got to go do this. And it was like everybody over there plotting against you before you even get there, though. Like they already know who in the neighborhood going to be the one that's going to come fuck you up. They already know. But you coming over there like you trying to get your kid out of a neighborhood because you feel like you got to validate yourself for him going to a better school, a better community, and a better upbringing. And almost every last one of these black boys that's being hurt by these white kids are from neighborhoods where y'all think y'all had to move to raise y'all kids. Every last one of them. It ain't never no time. Y'all, now we know it's gangs in neighborhoods, and we know that you can still live in a moderate neighborhood amongst black people. I grew up in one. I ain't start off in one, but I grew up in one. But the point is that I'm never moving away from my people. Everybody, when I look outside, I'm going to look into somebody who look at me and look like me eyes. I'm not hiding from my people. It's y'all that be trying to hide from y'all people that end up losing y'all people. We got to do better. We have to start. That's why black women come into play right there. Because if when the justice bell toll rings and says this is what's done, it's always the black woman that got to keep that battle going. Because we want answers. We not finna lay down and let it happen. Blah, 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 blah. Get to the bottom of it, find the answers. But keep y'all children safe. I just had to throw that PSA out there because those boys made some very good points. I want to raise my kids around people who look like me because we're not the ones that sitting up plotting. We're not sitting up plotting. When you hood, you good. Straight up. That lady, it was a whole ad out about how that white man told, how that white lady said if her child ever got lost in the woods or anything happened, run to the blackest man you see. She ain't say go run to the white person. Child might not even make it home. That black man scared already that he might be getting set up. So he finna take that child to the police station. Shoot, man, we don't play. We way more trustworthy. I'm telling you. So come on, just understand the PSA. I'm gonna move on. While each example is unique that I have given about black women, they share a common denominator. No matter how black women show up, our present, our views, we are often seen as problematic, eliciting unwarranted assaults on our character, our humanity, and even our lives. The racism perpetuated by white supremacy fuels those microaggressions. They have become so commonplace and normalized that they have often been overlooked, with Representative Crockett, the personal attacks from Green that have sparked this heated debate on hair and all of that in a workplace. This heated debate on the House floor were dismissed. It was dismissed. You hear me? With a mere reprimand, allowing Green's comments to remain on record. Her comments remained on record. Do you understand how indecent that is? That would have never happened with a white woman, bro. They would have scratched that from the record had anybody allowed what was said to Jasmine Crockett be said to Marjorie Green. They would have scratched that from the record, but they let it stay on the document that this was said to her to try to embarrass her. Insane. Green's comments to remain on record. When Representative Crockett and Ocasio-Cortez exposed the hypocrisy in the proceedings, their colleagues responded with ambivalence to the double standard. Everybody knew that was a problem. Everybody knew. Now, it's so much, the disrespect against black women is taught at a young age. It starts off in K through 12 education. Nationally, black girls receive more frequent and more severe discipline in school than other girls. I don't know, y'all can act like y'all have never noticed that, but it gets it get like bad in the school system when it comes to the separation of discipline in the school system. Federal data shows that many girls are struggling across almost. Oh yeah, I know that was. I'm telling you, that whole situation was very upsetting with Jasmine Crockett. They said that they were struggling across almost all measures of well-being, including substance use, experiences of violence, mental health, suicidal thoughts, and behaviors. These are girls in middle school, right? These are the middle school age kids that are thinking about those things. And then it obviously it gets very, very extensive as they get older, going into high schools. And this is happening in all school systems, not just public schools. The detrimental effects of removing students from the classroom for discipline, meaning putting them outside of the school, suspending them, makes it harder for them, because if they're already going through any type of mistreatment at home, is going to be at a higher stake because they're suspended. They were given the federal government allowed this opportunity to be given where they can go out and get data amongst different schools across the nation. And they were asked to review the effect of disciplinary policies and the practices on girls in the U.S. public school system for this particular test. This report examines what national data show about discipline disparities amongst girls in K through 12 across various student characteristics, including race and disability, and school characteristics, identifies factors that contribute to differences in discipline amongst girls in school, and also describes girls' perceptions of safety and belonging in school. So they did a wide range of questions with these young ladies, and amongst those girls, Black girls face more harsher forms of discipline than any other girls and had the highest rates of exclusionary discipline, such as suspensions and expulsions. The data also show that in every state in the U.S., Black girls are disciplined by higher rates when they also had a disability. So they sent kids with disabilities through the same rigorous standards as a normal student, that just because of their race. Exclusionary discipline rates of Black girls grew larger. So therefore, there were more expulsions, more suspensions, and more exclusionary actions to Black girls in schools between K through 12. This is fucking ridiculous. We talking about kindergarten kids learning how to be discriminated against at the age of 5, 6. And this is happening straight through the school system all the way up to 12th grade. And we know that because some of y'all, you got the Black girls that got the white friends. Some of them getting in the same trouble at the same time, but getting not the same penalties. It's ridiculous. These kids learning young that they treated differently. According to the researchers' analysis of the EEOC data, which was from the 2011 to 2016 and the 2010 through the 2017, for Black cases, for the race cases, Black women who were also granted different financial compensation after being discriminated against were awarded less money compared to white women for gender discrimination, but more money than Black men who endured racial discrimination. So even if a Black woman filed a racial discrimination suit, even while winning, she's still gonna get less compensation in the same regard than a white woman or a white man, but will get more than what a Black man will get. It gets wicked out here in these streets. It gets wicked out here in these discriminatory streets. I'm telling y'all. Anywho, that just really annoys me that kids that are in kindergarten, bruh, like, you're talking about babies, bro. Sitting there, literally having to be learning how to be on the defense at a young age. Because they learning, they sitting there like, you got them, and it is a very interesting thing for me, because I remember when I was a guardian ad litem, I was going to pick up one of my kids. And I always schedule things with the parents and grandparents in advance. Whoever the guardian was, they already knew. And that they were to alert the school that, I was coming to pick them up. I gave them certain times that I would be there, because I'll do pop-up pickups. It's not like I'm not going to come at just 3 o'clock. I'm going to come sign them out a little early, because I want to come in and see how they act in class, how they being treated in class, all those different things, right? So this particular time I pull up to the school. The kid was going to a little daycare. She was like 5. And I come to the class and I ask where she is. And, I see a lot of kids out on the playground or whatever, and they enjoying themselves. They're just playing around. And I was like, well, wait, is this everybody? They out here playing. Where's she at? And I still don't see her. So I know where her class is, because I've already come and pick her up before. So I walk up inside of the little portable place to go and get her and see if I see her in there. And I see her sitting in the corner with her back turned to the door, but her face facing the wall. And I see the teacher sitting over at the desk. So this is like another teacher. And I was like, well, what's going on? Why is she not outside? And she tells me that she hit a little girl and she wouldn't apologize, right? So that rubs me the wrong way immediately, because you hit first of all, you saying she in here because she hit a little girl and she wouldn't apologize. So my first thought is, why wouldn't she apologize? Was she being defensive about, like, is she hitting the girl back? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the reason? Like, you're trying to make her apologize. I want to know why. So I go get out the corner because we about to go anyway. So she's not finna sit in the corner no longer anyway. So I go get out the corner and I asked her, I was like, what's going on? What happened? And I said, why did you hit her? And she said, because she pulled my hair and she pulled my bead out. And I said, did you tell the teacher? She said, yes. And I said, did you tell the teacher after you hit her or did before you hit her? She said, I told the teacher she pulled my bead out. And she said, and I said, what the teacher told you? And she said, she told me to sit down. And I said, and what happened? She said, then she pulled my bead out again. And I said, and what happened? She said, and I hit her. Okay, then. So why? And so now I turned to the teacher. That's not the way. Why is she sitting here facing the wall? You know what I'm saying? Like, the fuck? Y'all like this? That had me so heated. I called her grandma because she lived with her grandma. I called the grandma immediately. Bro, I could, like, it was so many, like, I knew I was needed. It's certain things that you needed to be in, bro. But I would have fucked somebody up in that system that was dwelling through, because it was a foster care system that was basically in, you know, if when you're in the guardian ad litem, it's because kids have been taken from their homes or been placed with other family members or someone in the system. So more than likely they're getting fucked up, get mistreated, get mishandled. Something may be going wrong with them, or they may be intellectually struggling with the whole fact that they got snatched out of their home. Because sometimes now they get snatched out for some minute things, you know. So it's always good for those parents to be involved. But as a black woman doing this, bro, I realized how needed I was, because that baby never talked. That grandma used to tell me all the time, she don't talk. I used to bring her around my girls. She used to come and spend the day with us. Because you got to get these kids to feel comfortable and safe so they can feel like they have outlets. Otherwise, they're going to be a part of a system that's built to fuck them up. And we talking about our little black girls. So if I'm seeing it in the system already, she's 5. She was 5. This thing, just reading this, reminds me just how early it starts with black women being disrespected. She was 5. They talking about 5-year-old kids through the age of 5 through 18. Being manipulated by a system to make them feel like because of who they are, they're wrong. Only time I tell my kids they're wrong is when they're too loud, because sometimes that loudness get on my nerves. But no, absolutely not. You are to guard who you are. That's exactly what you have to do. Exactly what you have to do. Even when it comes to victims, black women are still looked upon as like, we can't struggle, we can't go through things, we got to be strong, we got to be will defied, it don't matter, you got to stand on business, you got to do this, you got to do that. You can't never have a bad damn day, a sad day, a grieving day. You can't do nothing. You got to always show up. And that's what the world expects. In a series of experimental studies, researchers investigated why disparities in compensation in victimologies might exist, and found it may have to do with the perceptions of a victim's attributes. Specifically, white women were perceived as warmer than black women and elicited more sympathy. And I brought up earlier that the Young Black Guys podcast stated that we was always taught that having white people around was safer, but it always be the white people that say that you taught to be around that always fuck you up. But those are the ones y'all be taught to run to and hang out with and do all those different things. Okay? So, but we're taught that warmer is safer. White women are warmer. They have a victim rating. They have a victim Richter scale. They know how to play off of people. They know how to play off of your emotions. They know how to sense the weakness of who you are. Because they know y'all weak as hell for a white cry, a white tear. They know it. Y'all so simple. Y'all easily played upon when it comes to white folk. He said warmer. That's what studies say. Studies say white women come off way more warmer than black women and elicited more sympathy. Similarly, black women were perceived as warmer than black men. Then we always be compared to men. The world ain't shit a lot, I'm telling you. Like, listen, y'all, I know some people might get mad when I say this, but I don't give a shit. This black woman came out and is like, I feel like the Bible was written by white men and white men only because of how because from the beginning of time in that Bible, it was written that women were evil and bad. Everything about a woman in that Bible was bad. Y'all don't see shit about a woman that's really good in the Bible instead of even the ones that grew to be better. The Esther stories and the different stories in the Bible that resulted where the women became better, they always had to do it through the foot of man. You know what I'm saying? It was always because a man thought what they was doing was wrong. We know the Bible was written by man. That's why she's saying all these things. So as she's saying it and saying all the different things, she said, I felt like that about the Bible. I felt like that about the laws. I felt like everything was written by man because everything was rooted to feel like women just was wrong. If a woman have sex with 5 men and a man has sex with 5 men, they're not going to say anything to the man. They're going to attack the woman. So that's why so many different narratives that she was speaking on. And she wasn't a feminist woman because y'all not believing all that feminism shit. But I was just reading the article and I took the perspective from that and said, I knew where she was gaining her momentum from with that statement was that it was written by white men because of the deflection that they have upon white women. Y'all know white men really do be hating white women real bad. That's why they didn't give them jobs. That's why they said stay home, take care of the kids. They did not like their people. They do not like their women. They don't like their women. It's been proven. I don't know. It's been proven. But that's why she was saying that. She was like, so getting back to her point, she said, so why everybody's sitting around here going on and on about how black women are this and black women are that. Remember, white men never even liked their women. Hence the Bible. So I had to just say that. I don't want nobody to get upset, but if you do, who cares? The point being is that everything was meant to attack some form of womanhood. And when it comes to sisterhood, that's all I can ever speak on. Because I know that we stand strong in who we are, where we are. We don't believe in trampling others over. We do have a very strong foundation in that sisterhood element. We not that everybody welcome type of people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I will say this. I only know black women that are very, very open to allow a lot of white people in their spaces for them to have been raised around them or to be mixed with them. I don't know no real like deeply rooted black women that have that connection like that with white women. And every white man in power back then had a sister in charge of their books and had the big, of course. course. That's why not just Charlie Bush, he was having all the babies too. And feeding his babies. But definitely everybody knew where that power lied. Everybody. So in conclusion, all women are more likely than men to face biases and disrespect at work. But for women of color and Black women of color only, these experiences are more frequent. Let me see what she said first. Welcome is earned and proven. I'm not just welcoming anybody. Peach. Don't say it loud. Don't say it quiet. Say it loud. all them letters and words should have been capitalized in that one. Welcome is earned and proven. I'm not just welcoming anybody. And that's period. That's for real. Especially not the wonderful people. I'm telling you. Black women. But for women of color, these experiences are more frequent and reflect a wider range of biases compared to any other woman. Black women are more than 3 times as likely to hear people express surprise at their language skills or other abilities. Racial biases and gender biases compound, meaning Black women often face greater barriers than either white women or white men. I'm not ever saying anything in comparison to Black men. So some of the polls and the ratings and the articles that I took some of my sites and sources from were not cited because of the fact that they did kind of equally compare us to each other, and I don't play that in my roles of what I speak. But what I will say is, as a Black woman, and I do deal with what I deal with on a day-to-day basis, and I think because I do have joy in my heart and a step in my pep that will never change how I operate, it's going to always cause problems and cause frictions in other people's lives. It's going to always make people shift and have to shape shift, because I'm going to be who I am every single day. I'm going to show up as me. And anybody that has a problem with it, that's their problem. And that's just the way it is. So I raised my daughters to think that way. I talk to other Black women in that same capacity. We have to be more accepting of who we are and stop trying to fit into spaces, because we are the spaces. And I take with that the whole thought that if it wasn't for Black women, a whole lot of things wouldn't be getting done. So I'm going to sign off. Y'all enjoy y'all evening. Thank y'all for tuning in. And as always, y'all be great. Have a great rest of y'all week and rest of y'all evening. Peace.
6:30 p.m. Eastern. Shelby's World Live taking off. Questions will be answered because the queen get it off. Unity is for the Black and brown community. Conversation without scrutiny. Hey, we speak from a place of power, no coward. We just making sure the truth isn't overpowered. Black goddess, Black queen, no in between. Radio podcast to the big screen. Her smile is everything, can light up a room. She say what she means, that's why we're in tune. Grown woman handles her biz like it is. Discipline, her role model for the kids. Nothing was given, everything she earned. She sat back and learned, and now it's her turn. So stop on by, comment, subscribe. Each and every Wednesday, SW Live.